Hey guys, welcome back to another Tumbler tutorial. Today we're going to be working on this multimedia tumbler. This vinyl is based off of my friend Tabitha's actual painting that she did. She's with TS Studios. Fun fact, we live about 20 minutes apart. We discovered that last year and we've had brunch a few times and she is the best human to ever exist. So I will link all of her information below and so you can follow her on social media, and I'm going to show you what I did to her vinyl to kind of spruce it up. I will never, ever be able to even come close to doing what she does or doing justice to this vinyl. She does incredible work, but give her a follow. Go look at her stuff. It's absolutely amazing. I'm in awe of it every time she posts something new, and I will show you guys how I made this tumbler. I'm using a 32-ounce plump from the Tipsy Magnolia. The reason I chose this one is because I wanted to give myself as much real estate as possible. I wanted to use as much of this vinyl as possible and put this on the tumbler. So I had the biggest canvas, so that's why I chose this one. It's a super long tumbler, so I got a lot of the vinyl, most of it, on this tumbler, and I just wanted to, like I said, show as much of it as possible, show it off. It's an incredible piece. So we're going to press the vinyl on the tumbler while pressing the backing off using the hinge method. I've done this a ton of times in my tutorials in the past. If you want to look at other vinyl tutorials and I go more in depth, if you want to watch those, you're welcome to check those out as well. Once I get the vinyl pressed down, I'm going to pull the bottom taut. You don't want to pull it too hard because it will rip the vinyl, but you want to make sure that you've got completely flat vinyl on the bottom edge. You don't have any crinkling or anything like that. And then once we've got that all pulled over the bottom edge, we're going to just roughly cut this off. I just want to make sure that my cup is laying on a flat surface when I use my cup edging tool to make sure that I have a completely straight line. After that, I'm going to go around and pop any air bubbles that might have snuck underneath that vinyl. I'm just going to poke my X-Acto knife in there and press the air out. You won't see it once it's under epoxy. Just make sure you're not cutting like a huge slit in the vinyl or anything. And then we're going to edge both the top and the bottom. Don't worry about the color underneath, the stainless showing or the white showing, because we are going to put gold foil at the top and the bottom to cover that up. Next, I'm going in with Aleene's Tack It, and I'm using a combination of the paintbrush and my finger. I want to make this look as natural as possible. I'm just putting it over the gold sections of the vinyl where she used the actual leaf foil in her painting. And so we're just going to accentuate what she's done. I'm not adding anything extra to it. We're just using kind of real life elements, if that makes sense. So basically what she would have used on the canvas, putting it over the vinyl to make it look 3D, to give it lots of depth and dimension, to make it look like we, in essence, created this vinyl, which we didn't. But we're basically going to just add on over the areas that she's already done, using the vinyl as a template to create our own painting on a canvas on the tumbler, if you will. Once I have all of my tacket glue laid down, we're going to go over it with the heat gun. Now with the tacket, you want to make sure that the glue is completely clear. Like right here, you'll see these white spots. If you dry it and you still see a white spot, you can either dab it out with your finger or you can just run your paintbrush over it. You just want to make sure that glue is completely clear before you're adding the foil into the glue, because if the glue is still white, that means it's not dry and it's the foil is not going to stick. So it's just going to kind of repel. It's going to move your glue. What am I saying? It's going to move your glue around, smush your glue around. And then it's just going to go all over your tumbler. So just make sure your glue is clear. And then we're going to go over it with this leaf foil, and I am just kind of sloppy about it. I just throw it on there and rub it into it, kind of burnish it down into the glue. And then we're going to follow the same process a second time. I wanted to make sure I had full coverage on the foil, so I'm going to rub all of this down, and then we're going to follow the exact same process between our finger and the glue, paintbrush. What am I saying? And this time we're going to go around the top and bottom edge as well. Now, trust the process. I know the bottom looks horrible. I didn't cover the entire bottom of the tumbler. That's because I plan to pop that bottom cap out to do a glitter booty. If you want to just do an entire foil bottom, you can disregard that and just cover the entire bottom in glue. But I'm going to let this play through, and I'll see you in the next step. Next, we're going to kind of emulate she's got some gold like ink splatters in there. We're going to put our own in there. Now I used silver metallic from Holtz. It's kind of like a silver, but kind of like I don't know, it's got like a rose gold tint to it. I don't know, it's a really weird color. But it's the only metallic ink that I had, so I just went with it. I would probably use gold if I had it in the future, if I did another tutorial like this or another tumbler like this. But I just put it on my paintbrush and splattered it on the cup, making sure to dry over the ink or let it air dry before I put my polyacrylic over the foil, just to make sure that that ink is not going to smear and spread anywhere. And then we're going to let this either sit and dry on our rack, or we're going to hit it with a heat gun. Keep in mind, we don't have any epoxy on the cup at this point. We're going to completely do all of our prep work prior to even putting one coat of epoxy on it. So once this is dry, we're going to go in with the glitter portion. So first we're going to do the glitter booty, which I'll show you next. And then we're going to reserve that UV epoxy and glitter from the glitter booty, and we're going to also put it on the body of the canvas. So make a little bit more than normal. If you're used to doing glitter booties, just add a little bit extra into your cup, both glitter and epoxy, and then we're going to, like I said, add that to the body of the tumbler. And with the bottom glitter booty here, I am using just acrylic paint to wipe that on. I did get a little bit on my foil. Just take a baby wipe and brush it off or rub it off. It's really easy to do. And for our glitters, we're using two of the newest glitters from the Peachy palette, Preppy and Paloma, and they coincidentally came in and matched perfectly with the vinyl that I was doing. So we're going to mix in the UV epoxy till we get a smooth consistency with the glitter, both for the pink and the orange. And I'm going to let this play through. You guys have seen me do a lot of glitter booties in the past. It's the same exact process. I just made a little bit extra for the body of the tumbler as well. Once that's completely cured, I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull the foil from the body of the tumbler, and I'm going to put that same concept into the glitter booty as well. I didn't want the foil in the orange part, so I just put a little bit of regular UV resin around the orange section, and then just put one little piece of the gold foil in there, making sure that I wasn't too rough when I stirred it up. I basically just wanted to coat the foil in epoxy, but I wanted some bigger chunks of foil because if they're broken up too much, you're not going to be able to see it. It's just going to fade right into that pink glitter. So I made sure that the foil pieces were pretty big, just using my stir stick to move them around where I wanted them to, so they were kind of evenly spaced. And I also avoided the acrylic logo tag in the center. Once the foil was laid down, I just put a dollop of the UV resin over top of that logo tag so it was covered, and then I cured that for a couple of minutes. And then that reserve glitter and epoxy that we have, this is what we're using here. And I'm just going to use kind of a patting and dragging process to put the color, so like the pink glitter will go over the pink section on the vinyl, and then the orange glitter over the orange section. I just want to give it a little bit of glitter to spruce it up a little bit, so it's not just like the ink tie-dye look. So I don't want to give it full coverage. I'm being pretty light-handed here, just trying to spread it out so you can still see the vinyl underneath the glitter. And then we're going to cure that under the light once we've got all of that glitter applied. If you're using regular epoxy, you can do that as well. You just let it spin. But because I was already using the UV epoxy, I just decided to put it on the surface of the tumbler as well. And I did put the glitter over the foil, or I kind of like blended it into the foil a little bit, just so it wasn't such a harsh line. And then once that glitter and epoxy mixture was cured, we're going to go in with our first coat of epoxy. I'm using this ultra fine gold glitter. This is from Mr. Nola's. I don't believe they sell it any longer. I can't find it on their website. I've had it for like eons. And so I'm just going to add a teeny tiny little bit. You guys saw how much was on my popsicle stick. You don't want a lot because it kind of covers up. If you've got too much, it kind of like covers up the design. It makes it, I want to say like foggy. It's not really foggy, but it just kind of like drowns out the design underneath it. So bare minimum glitter epoxy additive. We're going to add that right into our first coat of epoxy, and I'm using the Flynn Sisters regular setting epoxy. I'm shocked. This one coat completely covered this tumbler with the exception of a few like pokey bits on the top and the bottom. So I would say probably get away with 2 coats of epoxy depending on what viscosity epoxy you're using. But for this tutorial, that is it. I love how this turned out. Peachy Olive Glitters carries quite a few of her original paintings in vinyl form. So if you like this design, there are a bunch more on the Peachy Olive Glitters website in different color design schemes, things like that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow Tabitha on social media and catch her in the Flynn Sisters group, in the Peachy Olive Glitters group. She does incredible work. I cannot speak highly enough about her, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial.